Okay, here's the thing I want to see. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 looking better each day. I like Kingdom Come. It is a great title. Looking forward to Kingdom Come 2. Let's check out what Asmon is checking out.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? Ooh! So Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is coming out in a couple of months. This game is probably going to be... I think it's going to be one of the most popular games of the year.
I think he's right.
I mean, the only reason it might not be is there are going to be so many other games coming out. But it's already had a huge positive reception, and the player base for the first game is still active, even 7 years after the release.
About 100 on it.
Oh. Cool.
Oh.
This Henry guy just can't seem to catch a break.
Yeah.
When we last left the blacksmith's son turned knight at the end of the original Kingdom Come Deliverance, things were finally starting to look up for him.
We did a fine job.
But the sequel, in true video game sequel fashion, starts by knocking him down a peg or two and dumping him into a new, larger open world to regain his dignity, one side quest at a time. And
see, like, a lot of people complain about open world games. I think in a game like this, it's just like, that's the absolute best way to experience it. I'm so excited.
To be honest, that's refreshing.
If you do not believe me, try me.
Yeah, duel this motherfucker. Ooh, ooh.
The story of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 picks up almost immediately where the first one left off, but it's certainly not essential to have played it to follow what's going on. Thanks to an extended intro, that brings you up to speed on the broader strokes. The year is 1403. Henry is a village boy from Bohemia.
Look at the graphics. I really think this looks great.
Modern day Czech Republic, who saw his home burned to the ground due to a civil war for the crown taking place between two half-brothers. He ended up in the service of a frustratingly good-looking Nepo baby, Sir Hans Capon, to try and help out the supporters of the royal brother, who isn't going around burning down villages. And that plan got a little sidetracked.
What's the matter?
Oh, this is the thing. Right.
Let's go to them.
It's not exactly a start back from square one, though. Henry began the first game as the kind of old-school RPG protagonist who is really just some random guy with no skills to speak of. He could barely hold a sword, and the Unforgiven combat really made you feel that until you put in the time to master it. But Henry's a seasoned adventurer now. He knows how to read, which is practically a superpower in medieval Europe. And while you were out partying, he studied the blade.
Dude, I wonder what playing this game is going to be like. I really do. I don't know what is... Yeah, this is going to be...
You know, I really never thought of that in those times in the Dark Ages. Being able to read was a superpower. You know, like sharing information and being able to read with certain amount of people. What do you think the percentage of people in the Dark Ages knew how to read? Can we type this in? Hold on one second. What percentage of people could read in the Dark Ages? Hold on a second. Holy shit. Look at what we learned here. Look at what we're learning here. During the Dark Ages, also known as the early Middle Ages, only a very small percentage of people could read, with estimates suggesting that less than 10% of the population were literate. Maddie was on this. Maddie, did you Google this ahead of time, or are you just smart because you're fucking Capricorn and you're awesome?
Maddie, Maddie, I'm mad about you, Maddie.
She's smart. She's fucking Capricorn. Don't ever underestimate a goat. Don't ever underestimate a goat. We'll knock you off a fucking mountain. We'll knock you off a fucking mountain. Yeah, we will. 10%.
Fucking amazing.
Imagine. It would be like you'd be like an Avenger. You could read things that would give you knowledge that nobody else would have, and you could pick up skills if somebody wrote like a guide or somebody wrote something that knew something about how to fight, and you could read it and learn it. You would literally be your own walking PC back in those days, man. You would own up. You would own it up.
I think you should try the first
How
one.
many of you? Okay, here's a great question. And I want to see it with ones. And we'll this is a great gauge. Be honest when I ask this. How many of you in these times would take, there was no schooling, there was no mandatory schooling. You did whatever the fuck you wanted to. How many of you would take the time to actually learn how to read? I want to see ones now in the chat. Put yourself back in those times. Put yourself back in the dark ages right now. Put a 1 if you would take the time to learn how to read. Thank you, Aether. I would too, bro. I would too. Wooksy says yes. Daft says no. Daft, that's an honest answer. I like that. Daft is like, fuck it. Why would I need to? I like to see some 2s up in here. Okay, Wooksy says 1. The issue was to access it. Right, Maddie. Maddie says 1. Java loves books. She says 1. I like that Daft was like brave enough to be like, fuck this. I'm going to put a 2 because why would I want to? I like that, Daft. I understand that. A lot of smart people here, though. lot of bookworms. Oh, Backspace says 2. Erad says 2. Very honest answers. Very honest answers. I like this. Retro's undecided. Retro's young, though, which would explain his indecision. He's like, hey, I'm a young man. He's got that young man stamina, you know? He's like, hey, what do I need to really do? I need to? Don't I need to? I don't know. I'm really young, right? I get it. Retro's kind of in between. Wooksy deconstructs everything. Backspace says he's not rich enough to read. Matsuo says, I was being sarcastic. Smart people rule the villages. Chook says, as a chicken, I would just be someone's food. God, I'm so sorry, Chook. Somebody's going to eat you, but I bet you're delicious, bro. Erad says 3. I would create my own writing. Oh, snap. You just went banana fountain. You just went banana fountain, Erad.
Banana fountain.
Erad's just creating his own language with his own writing. I like it. I like it because you had more chance of it to catch on. We'd all be speaking Erad right now. If Erad was back in those times, what would happen? If his language got adopted, we'd be speaking Erad right now, which would probably be a pretty fucking awesome language. You know? 3 is also the DG wins, by the way. Thank you, Retro. Thank you. Right. The Erad Underground Library. King Erad. He would have his own language. Holy shit.
People think that. It's hard. I feel like it is too.
I surrender.
Can you get a halberd?
I love this game. If you have never played Kingdom Come, you have got to. I highly recommend this title. Still good to this day.
Gotcha, bitch. Yeah, okay, it's easy. It'll be easy.
This is reflected in the changes to combat in KCD 2, which the developers described as lowering both the skill floor required to play competently and raising the skill ceiling for the most devoted warriors. There are only 4 attack directions now instead of 5. Thrust attacks are no longer a separate attack button and have instead been folded into the combo system for weapons that make sense with them only. Parriers are a bit easier to pull off, and much to my delight, blocking can now defend you from multiple attackers, as long as
I feel like this looks really good, man. Like if you look at the background and everything,
the entire combat system is actually orgasmic bliss. You guys play this, you guys agree with me? I have to say, I love how it translates. The game design for the combat system is absolutely top notch.
Oh my god, looks amazing. God, good game.
Shrapnel,
yes, I know.
You can't have a chainsaw for a hand. No.
they're all in front of you.
What an idiot, bro. What a dumbass.
Come on, then.
Basically, whether you mastered KCD 1's combat or not, the lower skill requirement at the very beginning models the fact that Henry is simply a better fighter by now. But careful stamina management is still the core of every scrap, and button mashing is one of the quickest ways to die. I came across plenty of challenging encounters, even as someone with more than 100 hours across 2 playthroughs in KCD 1. It's not as easy to spam your way through them by getting a couple of powerful combo moves down to muscle memory.
Mercy.
Damn, bro, this guy got
Mercy, spare me. Wah! Take that. A lot of the Viva La Dirt League skits where they had the older dude from Lord of the Rings, a lot of those sketches that Viva La Dirt League did were from, I'm convinced, Kingdom Come and the gameplay there.
Oh, there it is. Get the fuck out of here.
The world of Kingdom Come Deliverance II is...
this is incredible.
Yeah, this looks fantastic. I can't wait.
This is
I love to be transported back into these old school fucking games, man. I love it. I love the landscapes. I love everything about the, like, I'm generally not like somebody that digs like having to deal with like PvE or NPC quests, but I gotta say, this is one of the most immersive games of all time, and I cannot wait for the second one to come out. I am very hyped for this.
So nice. Look at the graphics on this. This is amazing. No Mercy? Fuck them.
Yeah.
Quite
like
a bit larger as
tough,
well,
man.
with 2 distinct maps about the size of the first games that you can travel back and forth between.
I like when Asmon like breaks out of his shell and he has like those rage moments where he's like, yeah, fuck him. You know,
Once
like,
both are unlocked, the terrain feels fairly familiar, for the most part. We're still in the central Bohemian woodlands, basically just over the hill from where KCD1 left off. But the level of detail on the terrain and vegetation is a noticeable step up, and better yet, it's way more optimized. My RTX 4070 Super still can't run KCD1, a 6-year-old game, on max settings.
Oh, it's a 4070. Bro, like, this guy's a caveman. I guarantee.
Oh, I wish I had the top-notch graphics card. I really do, man.
I run this shit on Ultra. It's gonna be no big deal.
Played of KCD2 rarely had any performance problems.
You won't.
Ooh.
The centerpiece of this new world is the city of Kuttenberg, which is quite a bit larger, denser, and more vibrant than anything we saw in KCD1. There's certainly no Paris or Prague, but navigating its crowded streets and markets, taking shortcuts through back gardens, and admiring its grand Gothic architecture is a complete change of pace from wandering around muddy woodland trails. It's big enough to get lost in, built on a realistic scale that makes towns in a lot of other RPGs feel like tiny dioramas.
That's one thing that like a lot of games don't do right in one way or another, is they make towns too big with nothing to do, or they make them too small and they feel like it's just like basically a like vendor area video game thing.
Oh, he's spot on. He is so spot on.
Yeah, this scale is so hard to get right. Damn.
The side quests I got to play were also very open-ended and complex. The most notable example of this was an arc involving 2 rival sword schools in Kuttenberg, with the older and more established one, who just so happened to support the wrong king, trying to force out the newcomers, who were loyal to our boy, the rightful heir. It fell on my shoulders to steal a ceremonial sword from the established school and display it on the walls of the town hall, which would be seen as an open call for challengers.
The quest
this
looks really
doesn't much care
tight.
how you get the sword. I took a sneaky approach, picking a lock to the guild side entrance, but often you'll be able to choose violence or even diplomacy to solve your problems. What it does care about is whether or not you got caught carrying out this little false flag operation, as it can affect how the tournament between the 2 schools play out. I, of course, maintain plausible deniability.
I love doing that in every game that involved Dungeons and Dragons, Wizardry. I always love to do that type of shit, to burgle, to do shit that you shouldn't do. Isn't that what gaming's all about? To be somebody that you normally aren't in gaming. It always makes me a little bit kind of weirded out when somebody is just like acts exactly like they do in real life in the game, and it's like, what are you doing? You're playing it wrong. You're playing it wrong. Do something different.
And won the competition for my school. But there are a variety of other ways it could have progressed, some of which have long-term consequences.
This shit's kind of hard. Like, just watching it, I feel like this is hard.
Yeah, no, it's always been hard. Has you not played the original?
Damn.
I mean, the combat system is awesome. The combat system's stellar. Right, Retro, right.
Look at that! Henry remains unbreakable.
Absolutely, Fingers. You're right.
Another quest gave me the option of killing or talking my way past some quote-unquote bandits. And I was told that if I didn't kill them, they might show up later and present me with new opportunities.
Lord von Bergov sent us to find the renegades who ambushed some knights company down by the pond yesterday. A couple of them fled and are hiding out here in the rocks. So tell me who you are and what you know about it.
Skills and perks have also been expanded upon, and the perks themselves are generally more powerful.
I mean, think about that. Back in the day, being accosted by a stranger back in the day was completely different than it is today. Today, you've got social media. You think cameras are every fucking where. There's a camera in my shirt. There's a camera in my underwear. There's a camera everywhere you go. Like, you got, like, you know, all these years of civility and society and what they've taught you, like, structured into your DNA at this point. But back then, dudes, like, it was completely different. If you met somebody in the woods like this, you didn't know what was going down, man. And nobody was worried about getting caught for anything. Like, it would be a completely different kind of vibe, man. I mean, it was like danger everywhere you went, and people lived their lives and didn't worry about shit. Today, people are so entitled and they worry about every single thing, man. They forgot where they came from. This is where we came from. This is how society became society. And then we stacked rules upon rules upon rules upon rules upon rules, and then everything's going fucking crazy again. But like back in those days, it was like whoever you are as a person, what are your characteristics? What are your traits? What's the shit you were going through? And you didn't know if you were meeting some crazy or not. You had no idea what was going on. You had to make sure you had a sword or some type of weapon around. Like you were on your own, man. You were on your own. You better have a lot of friends.
Here in the rocks. So tell me who you are and what you know about it.
Skills and perks have also been expanded upon, and the perks themselves are generally more powerful. Some of the ones in the first game offered a boon and a penalty, which made them feel more like side grades. Perks in KCD 2 are more straightforward upgrades, which they should be, especially
Beer Belly, Lucky Day, Beer Foot, Heavy Duty, Cheers, Indomitable, Drunk, Drunken Fool, Tavern Brawler. Look at these. Oh my god. What kind of game is this?
It's an awesome game.
If I'm going to spend my scarce, hard-won progression points on them.
Somebody said this game is what I thought RuneScape was whenever I was 10 years old. That's actually such a good comment. I love that.
That is
almost everything else Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has to offer feels like a careful refinement of its predecessor. Warhorse isn't reinventing the wagon wheel here. Diplomacy still takes into account factors like what clothing you have on and how clean you are, with a new system of saved favorite outfits so you can quickly switch between combat gear and something more suited to a soiree. But this time, there's more emphasis on picking the right thing to say for the situation, instead of just the option you have the best stats for. Alchemy is back, allowing you to craft various potions and concoctions. It's been made less fiddly. There's a new blacksmithing minigame for forging your own gear and making a bit of coin, following in Henry's father's footsteps. The reading skill...
Like if you want to become a competent blacksmith in this game, you have to spend hours fucking doing this endlessly before you're actually a good blacksmith. This is a title in which you actually have to put in hours of fucking repetitious shit before you become good at something. So if you don't like that and you think it's monotonous to do that, then this is probably not the game for you. But like literally stats matter in this game. Like, you know, there's a lot of games out there that have these stats, and, you know, like if you're like, especially like diplomacy, and like you're talking with somebody and your diplomacy level's really high, and, you know, you think like if you're a couple points lower on your diplomacy that you're not going to be as convincing or persuasive, right? But it doesn't matter in those titles because they never really designed it to actually matter. In this game, it actually matters.
Gear and making a bit of coin, following in Henry's father's footsteps. The reading skill has been replaced by scholarship, which is gained by reading books and can provide boons like opening up new dialogue options. Henry's still crap at reading Latin though, and I'm not sure if that can be fixed. And in addition to new, more diverse movesets for all kinds of melee fighting, Henry can finally get his hands on some guns. Now, this is the early 1400s, so we're talking about extreme...
That thing sucks! You're trying to light off a Roman candle against a knight. Oh man, look at this.
Some guns. Now, this is the early 1400s, so we're talking about extremely primitive firearms, the kind that had the tendency to blow up right in your hands.
My leg!
So don't go expecting to be medieval John Wick. But if you point them in the right direction from close enough range, there's really no amount of armor that will save your foes from the blast. Then you probably want to grab a sword because the remaining foes will not stand and wait for the subjective eternity it takes for you to reload.
Sorry. Take that, sir.
Welcome to the first guns, man.
Just use a crossbow. Like, I feel like crossbow is probably gonna be better. Yeah, I don't know about that. I feel like that's the kind of thing that if you like, if I was gonna play this game, I would probably use that as a fight opener, right? Like, I don't know how weapon swapping works, but like you preload this, you pop one guy off, and then you begin to fight. You know.
In just about every sense, Kingdom Come Deliverance II is shaping up as simply a smoother, prettier, more refined continuation of the things I liked about the original. The core mechanics are mostly the same, but sharper and with deeper progression. The world looks familiar, but broader and more
yeah, that's a great fact there. Backspace says, fun fact, old ass guns used to kill you because of infection. Yeah, dude. Like, I was explaining how the tetanus vaccine came about because old school like battles where you got cut with a sword or got stabbed with knives, usually if people didn't take care of their swords or knives, they would have like rust on them, and then you'd have rust. I explained tetanus in vivid detail to my son, and he was like, holy shit. Because I'll tell you, one time when I was working, holy shit, I stepped on a rusted nail through my boot. I was working in construction, breaking shit. It was great. It was a demo job. And I stepped through a nail and it poked right up through my foot, and it was rusted as shit. I had to go get a tetanus shot. I think the tetanus shot was worse, man. I hate tetanus shots. Tetanus shots, whoo, man. They tighten up that buttocks. They tighten up the buttocks and they burn. Oh, man, that tetanus shot. I'd have rather stepped on a rusted nail.
Grandiose.
This is really
I
good.
had 2 whole days to play it, and it felt like far too little. When I was first turned loose from the stocks to pick my own path to glory.
But tetanus, man, tetanus is a bitch. Tetanus tighten your, you know, like, you get like lockjaw. You can't fucking eat. You can't do anything. Can't even open your mouth to eat.
I felt that tingly feeling you get the first time you play Skyrim or The Witcher 3, of a massive world full of diverse adventures
Talk about a way
that aren't
to go,
just clearing
dudes.
icons off a map.
That'd be a
I look
shitty
forward
way
to
to
spending
die.
dozens of hours exploring, gearing up the authentic medieval weapons and armor, and progressing through the improved perk system. Maybe Hans will
I feel
stop.
like this game, and like I don't really know, like, but it just kind of gives me the same vibe. This is like the medieval European version of Stalker 2 for like handheld, like sword.
This is actually so much more in depth and detailed. I love Stalker. I love that series, but if I had to pick between the two, I think I'm picking this one, believe it or not. It is just such a great title. It is so good.